This was supposed to be released before Saturday. Actually on Saturday, but, yeah, I missed the deadline by 2 or 3 days. Procrastination is the devil. But, regardless, I hope you, dear viewers, enjoy the video, and this is my first time making any video like this, so, constructive criticism will be necessary. Please and thank you. Now, please, for your viewing pleasure. See you guys at the end. Welcome to the studio. Video, I just finally refurbished it and put the down payment on it. The down payment was like 5 pennies and a button. I got it, Steve. Well, without further ado, let me just... Alright, the TV's already here. I got that one under seal too. That took 2 nickels and nickels. And a piece of chewing gum. I got this all very cheap. It's honestly really shocking. I think it still works. Works. Yes! So, without further ado, let's start the review. Alright, so the scene starts off with just fire. Like, a lot of fire. As if Heat Blast went on a massive arson spree all of a sudden. Only, instead of Heat Blast, we get a guy wearing a lot of dark and red clothes, casually walking to obtain a Sawatama that's on the ground. And he seems to be yearning for someone stronger to challenge him in a fight, with a suspicious-looking Flaremon-like Digimon behind him. Well, he won't be important for this episode, so why don't we just go check on how the Glowing Dawn crew is doing, right? Right. Well, it looks like today is the monthly payday for the cleaners. And Gekomon already tries to eat Tomono's pay, thinking it's food. Never change, Gekomon. Never change. This scene is honestly really hilarious, by the way. I love it. Now, a bit later in the episode, Makoto asks Tomono what he plans to use his pay for, to which Tomono says he plans to buy a present for Asuka since his birthday is next week. And he plans to go window shopping on the way to the hospital to see if he can pick anything out for his bro. It's at this moment that Gekomon's tail immediately perks up, and Gekomon himself also perks up, saying that he wants to tag along. Interesting. To which Tomono questions, saying that Gekomon says that they would stay home during hospital visits. But Tomono just plain out refuses. Which is very interesting, because Gekomon all of a sudden now wants to come and visit, go to the hospital with Tomono. It's really interesting.
Put a pin in it, it'll be important for later.
But he's eventually, well, coerced, strong-armed, and convinced you can use yourself for vernacular anymore until allowing Gekomon to come. So long since Makoto promised to actually keep an eye on it, while Tomono went to go check on his brother. Now, on the bus ride to the hospital, it's revealed that Tomono's mother and father were arrested by the Mistress of Protection. Now, both Tomono and his brother Asuka believed that they'd be let out immediately. You know, some misunderstanding on the Ministry's part. They apologize, say it was their bad, and they'd be home by tomorrow for dinner. But that sadly didn't happen, and due to the fact that Tomono was just a child, I am probably at probably like late elementary to early middle school age, Asuka being the oldest, had to quietly provide for him, which forced him to not only drop out of school, but quit his own band in order to dedicate 100% of his time into taking care and raising Tomono, which really goes to show Asuka's dedication. Honestly, we could say that that's him pulling a Nala right there, which frankly, base, and what I mean by Nala, I mean old school Disney animation, the original Lilo and Stitch, not the god-awful remake. Okay, and I'm not gonna lie, this actually really makes me question something. That might sound a little weird. What did Tomono's brother actually do as a job? Like, primarily, this is like the weird question. Because since him and Kyo know each other better, and since also, Asuka knew about Digimon, and especially Kyo knew him well enough to know Asuka's date of birth and his birthday, which, I mean, that clearly is a sign that those two must have been friends. It really makes me question, well, what type of job did Asuka have in the first place to even, warrant having that level of a relation with Kyo? To which most people probably, I think some people said online that Asuka might have been a cleaner. They're like, that's like a speculation, but that makes no sense. I mean, let's think about it logically. In episode 1 and 2, or specifically let's focus on episode 1, Traumerei was being hunted down about 2 Hydemons. If Asuka really was a Digimon tamer, if he did have his own Digimon partner, why didn't he use it in that entire situation? Call his Digimon to help him out in that entire situation. He willingly let the situation get that bad, and I bet someone was like, oh well, his Digimon was like got deleted. Okay then, so that just doesn't make sense. It doesn't really work. Honestly, I think more or less that he must have been an informant for Kyo when it came to Digimon related cases, or better yet, him and Kyo were probably working on something to figure out more about World Union. Yeah, I actually did watch episode 12, so that's a spoiler right there. And I think that might be it, because it makes sense. If you think about it, why would Asuka and Kyo know each other? What would be the goal for Asuka to get even more into this information about Digimon? Well, it most likely has to do with the fact that him and Tomono's mother and father were taken away by the ministry. So maybe Asuka, quite literally questioning some things and wanting more information on what happened, most likely wanted to delve deeper and deeper into that situation. To which he most likely met Kyo later down the line, and they both decided to work together to figure out the whole mystery to this entire situation. But somebody didn't like the fact of what Asuka most likely found, because then we have Gokumon come in, snag the actual Sabatomata containing Asuka's Epos, meaning whatever information Asuka had must have been important enough to where, like, hey, getting rid of Asuka would be easy. Getting rid of Kyo is going to be too difficult. But then again, that is all just theory crafting, and I'm using some information I got from episode 12 now, so yeah, I would say take that with a grain of salt. I might be right, I might be wrong, I don't really know. Anyway, moving on. Now, before we continue on to the next segment, I want to bring up this small little action toward us with Gekomon on the bus, in which Gekomon's like constantly moving his head around like a dog searching his surroundings. Things only for Tomono to just push his hand and down on Gekomon's head, telling him to stop moving because someone could see him in a bus which shows that there's almost nobody there. Like seriously, in this image with Rina, there's like no one else there. It's like an empty bus, and I'm just like, I feel like this should be something important I need to talk about. Like it really is important. Wait, like, this is gonna be for later. Put another pin in this one. Now we move on to the hospital, and where I must ask you, dear viewer, to pay attention to the satchel around Makoto. It'll be important for a surprise later. Now let's go on forward to where Tomono's talking to his brother Asuka. You know, giving Asuka on the up and up about the whole situation. Telling him he's doing okay, he's eating well, that he's doing fine. He's kind of frustrated that brother didn't tell him anything was going on, not about any of this. But all in all, still loves his bro. Also, he notices that his brother's blanket, the hospital blanket, wasn't actually fully covering. Been taking note that Asuka hated the cold, so he tries to fully cover up, and then says, as sorry, it's all his fault. Tomono was blaming himself, mind you, which, gosh, that just has a lot of implications. Well, okay, that's just another one we can add to the pin on the corkboard. The corkboard already has a lot of pictures. There's here. A lot of them I can't show yet. Yeah, but still, it's really referential and important that we notice this corkboard, man. And then we actually get, honestly, a really sweet memory. Most likely after, their parents were taken away by the government and they were sadly being forced to leave their old home. Tomono cold, Asuka decides to give him a red scarf to keep Tomono warm, with a warm smile, giving him a warm smile as well. It was a very sweet and beautiful memory. Really goes to show that Asuka really did master the road of being the older brother immensely. And this is what gives Traumerei the idea of what gift to actually give to Asuka, which honestly is a really sweet and sentimental gift. And after this lovely moment where Tomino now knows what gift he wants to get his brother Asuka, Gyakumon just spawns in right behind them, just standing there. As if he's waiting for Tomino to notice him so that way the boss fight can begin. And, like, legitimately, play Dark Souls music and it just works, like, crazy well. See, here, I'll actually give you guys an episode right now. Watch. In 3, 2, 1. Also prepare your ears. Go! See? I told you. It fits really well, doesn't it? It's really funny when you hear it, man. Now, reminder, how did Gyakumon get out of Makoto Rine's sight? Well, remember, Rine and Brissimon were actually about to have a fight between sisters, let's be honest. That's all it would look like. And Makoto's like, hey guys, calm down. In that moment, Gyakumon disappeared. He immediately was following Tomino. You gotta keep an eye on the guy 24/7, otherwise he just disappears. Now, this is one I would talk about the shop scene, but that's a scene that I feel like should be handled towards someone with a specific set of skills. Hence why I'll let Ritar or Papa C handle that all. Deal with that, so that way we can then just move along. Okay? Okay. Without further ado, Ritar C, handle that for me. And hopefully this works. Hello everyone. I am Photoshop me. Still haven't figured out what to do with this bit. Well, regardless, I'm here to basically talk about the entire shop scene and ultimately, signify what happened and also show you how bad communication can exist. Now, normally I would show you I have a little cute little slide, but I think it's better we just go with it base by base. Now, let's start off at the beginning. Where Brissimon basically ask Gyakumon, why don't you celebrate with him? I'm sure Tomino would appreciate it. And Gyakumon, we see this. Now, this is because Gyakumon, throughout this entire episode, if you've noticed, just since the start, wanted to spend time with Tomino. Bond with Tomino. Hence why when Gyakumon hears this, he immediately tries to actually, take part, interact with Tomino, try to give a suggestion on what gift he should get for Asuka himself. But reminder, once again, Traumerei already had a specific scarf and color in mind, which is the red scarf. Which you'd think, oh, that's great. Well, he already has it in mind. But the problem is that Traumerei doesn't really tell Gyakumon this or even acknowledge Gyakumon. He's just giving a sure and and whatever. And this is what you would call mind the terribly designed zero communication. Barely any communication. We could even call it 1 or 10%. Meanwhile, Gyakumon is quite literally pushing for a 50. He is just pretend it's a 50, don't get mad at it. He is pushing for a 50-50 communication. He is trying to interact with Tomino in a 50-50 way. But once again, Traumerei just gives pure indifference. Which results in, this scene, where Gyakumon pushes instead for a 50. I think we should call this an 80. Yeah, let's call it an 80. We can call it an 80 to 90% communication gauge. And the reason why I'm calling this a gauge is because I feel like it's a lot easier for people to understand. This is where Gyakumon has to now actively pressure and not do something to instigate or force reaction. Right now, Gyakumon was at, if I were to be honest, he was more or less moved to a 60. Now he's at an 80 or 90. Which results in Gyakumon doing this. Why? Because he's now at 100%. Because he's now just saying, budget, I'm gonna force you to acknowledge me, force you to talk to me, because I'm tired of you blowing me off. Why is Gyakumon tired? Because Tomino just decided I'm not gonna pay attention to Gyakumon. I'm gonna ignore him because I already figured out the perfect scarf that I believe my brother would like the most. Who is in a coma? Because I believe I found the perfect gift, rather than try to actually find a bond with Gyakumon, which results in, this. this. And then the scarf is ripped. Now, Geckomon realizes this, acknowledges it. Oh shoot, I messed up. That was not the plan. I just wanted to bond with him. And Geckomon tries to explain, I just wanted to choose one with you. He wanted to just have a moment of bonding with Tomino. To which Tomino, now that he was once originally at, like, we can call this originally he was at like 10 or 20. He's now at a 90 or 90. I wouldn't say 90 in a positive sense. More or less now he's being forced to match Geckomon's original communication score. Because you can see that he's now just being furious, mad. He's just bloodshot angry at Geckomon. Come on. This is the result of, okay, what the hell hedge is wrong with you? Why did you do this? I didn't ask for your help. Why do you keep getting in the way? That level of communication. He's not trying to calm down and actually have a delicate dialogue. He's now just overshooting. We could even call it 120 at this point. Shooting, which is resulting in a more negative, more hostile nature, which causes Geckomon to run away. And Tomino just looks at the scarf, sad, because the perfect gift he had for his brother has now been ruined. Now, all in all, I think we should ask the ultimate question: who was in the wrong here? Both. I'm 100% being honest. Both were in the wrong. Yes, Tomino had the perfect gift item picked out, but one, ironically enough, none of the other members of the team even know what it is, because once again, Traumerei always goes on the beat of his own drum. This is quite literally a whole thing with his character. Him not telling the others what gift he already had planned out, especially Geckomon, kind of just caused this whole thing to get worse, because, Geckomon would have just then decided, let me go help, and then found the red scarf sooner. Boom. They would have had a bonding moment. This wouldn't have actually then spiraled into what happens later in the episode, and everything would have been kumbaya. But that's all the time I got for today. I'm going to leave it over to review me to handle, which is going to be DaVinci Resolve Me. So, peace, and love, and all that jazz. Also, treat your Digimon partners with love and respect. Bye. Thank you, Traumerei. You did a great service. We'll call you in, 10 to 15 minutes. Anyway, we continue. Now, we cut back to the rest of the room with Dawn Crew actually meeting with Kyo and Sunspar. And Tomino is still very much mad at Geckomon. Although what I find most fascinating is that Tomino still holds on to the bag and keeps Geckomon in. And hell, even the camera actually points to the bag. Oh, is it all? So takes it off, puts it on the chair. Now, there's like two possibilities. It's either to show that Tomino still cares and is worried about Geckomon even after their fight, or is to signify Kyo paying attention to the bag himself. It could be either or really, but I kind of want to lean more onto Tomino, more on Geckomon, because it would hint at what I want to talk about later down the line. But either or it could work perfectly fine, so we can move on. Now Traumerei, still being a grumpy McGrumperton over what happened, immediately tries to go and continue the job. The cleaner asking Maki something, to which Kyo then responded, "How are you going to do your job without Geckomon?" And that causes Traumerei to stop. Now it's clear that Kyo was trying to take the more offhanded approach of trying to get Traumerei to reconcile with Geckomon. He's not going to try and force it. To which, good. Unfortunately, there's a point in the episode where I just think that maybe Kyo should have probably taken a more hands-on approach and not a more hands-off, subtly nudging Traumerei down the right direction. It just, because it leads to a certain scene happening. And, if episode 12 did not happen, I swear. But anyway, now, we're going to be focusing on Geckomon a little. Now, it's clear since he broke off from the group, clearly upset with Traumerei, decides to start throwing stones into the sea, calling him an idiot all the meanwhile. Now, ironically enough, on the third stone that he's about to throw, he starts to cry. Now, the reason I bring this up is primarily an obvious reason. Now, I'm pretty sure you all remember when you were kids and you got into a fight with your parents. You were upset at them, they were upset at you, or you got in a fight with your brother or sister that were older than you. You got upset at them and they were upset at you. You were in the wrong in some way, shape, and or form. And you didn't want to admit it, and you got upset. You were fuming mad, calling them dumb or stupid. But then, the anger subsides a little bit, and all that's left is the sadness, or the realization that you messed up. This is what's happening to Gekomon in this specific moment. He is realizing that he did mess up in that massive form when it came to Tomo. Their perfect bonding moment that was right then and there was fundamentally made into a massive mess up because Gekomon didn't go the scarf, which caused that whole blow up from Tomino. It's honestly a really good scene, although it's like a blink and you miss it moment for most people. Like, pretty sure some people didn't notice it. But all in all, a good old new friend shows up to try and alleviate Gekomon's sadness. Raremon, what do you gotta say to that, Gekomon? Oh, Gekomon looks scared. Oh, shoot. Alright, now we move on to the cleaner showing up to the scene prepared to flush Raremon down the drain. And ironically enough, we get a really cool scene where we get a triple Digivolution with Makoto, Rine, and Kyo. And what I find most fascinating is, ironically enough, in comparison to how Rine and Makoto's Digivolutions go where they actually slap their hands on the Sapotanas and their eyes and the signal sign for their E-pulse is shining. I mean, it's like mildly bright, but it's not too bright. With Kyo's, it's like his own E-pulse shine is like almost engulfing the entire screen. And what I find fascinating is because of how you think about it, the Sabotamas technically need to download, or rather, I guess you would say download or absorb the user's E-pulse into it, and then the Digimon eats and consumes it, to the point where that E-pulse technically forces them to enter the next state of Digivolution. So what you could logically say makes sense is that in order for a Digimon to achieve ultimate state, they need to have even more of that energy poured into the Sapotana, which results in them being pushed to ultimate. The reason why I bring this up is, well, for a specific scene that happens later in the show, rather than this specific episode. So, because I think it would factor into how Dark Digivolution could occur, but if you're already probably figured out what I mean, then you should probably understand what I'm trying to say. Anyway, we move further. Let's focus on the fact that Makoto was actually able to scan and find Gekomon, and immediately notifies Traumerei of this. And I just want to take in the fact that you should just look at Tomodo's face the moment he hears that Gekomon is nearby. This boy immediately shows a look of, oh my god, my precious baby boy is nearby. Oh, thank the Lord Almighty. Oh, Gekomon is safe. Oh, Gekomon is here. Remember how Tomodo was just mad at Gekomon? He was like, oh, Gekomon, I don't care what Gekomon is. I don't give a flying rat's tail where the guy is. I don't care about him. I don't care. I'm still mad at him. And then the moment Makoto tells him, oh, Gekomon's nearby, Tomodo, Gekomon, where is he? Where's my baby? Where's my baby? Where's my precious baby boy? Where is he? I just love it. And it really is just that pure moment of adorable. And it's there to remind you once again that Traumerei does care and love Gekomon. He does. Because I have to keep reminding myself of this because of the specific scene that does make me mad at Traumerei a lot. But we'll get there when we get there. Now, before we continue, we actually have a guest for the studio here today. And our first review too. I want you all to clap because sadly we don't have the money to actually afford an applause button. Please welcome to the studio for the first video, Digimon Beatbreak, everybody. Yes, dear viewer, I need you to clap. Come on, clap it up. Come on, guys. Come on, yeah, Digimon Beatbreak is here. Thank you for coming to the studio, Digimon Beatbreak. I'm really grateful that you answered all my emails. Oh wait, what do you have here? It's the script of common writing tropes, guys. Oh my gosh. This is just an amazing piece of information. It's basically where everybody just copies is what to do for all their story and writing tropes, and that's normally how they always, some make are good, some are bad because they don't know how to properly utilize them. I wonder why Digimon Beatbreak brought here for us to see in this studio. Wait, what are you doing? No, stop. Why are you crumbling it? Stop crumbling it up in the wall. Stop. Why? Why did you crumble it up in a ball? Why, Beatbreak? Why? Because, for a very simple reason. I have decided that the smartest option for this episode would be to let their relationship get even worse than for it to get better. That is why. Thank you for bringing me onto the show. I hope you have a good rest of the day. I shall take this cup of the ball with me and be on my merry way. Arigatou gozaimasu. Now, normally, what's supposed to happen during scenes like this is that the two reconcile, they work together and beat the big bad. That's what happens. We all know this. If you watch Digimon Savers, you know this because you've watched that Marcus and his Agumon had a fight. They were split up. They both realize they need each other, and they reconcile. Short, sweet, to the point. But as Digimon Beatbreak clearly showed show how they felt about the script of common writing tropes, they decided, nah, that's too soon, so we're not doing that. And instead, we get things getting even worse. Because the moment Tomino sees Gekomon running with a stone in his hand, he immediately enters angry face and rather than just trying to be calm and rational, decides to blame Gekomon for the Raremon being on a rampage. Now, we all understand, and even understand logically speaking, that makes no gosh darn sense. But Tomino, still a bit of a... Actually, no, let's be honest. He's still mad about the scarf incident. And he's using this whole situation as an excuse to still be mad at Gekomon, when in reality, he needs to let this stuff go. This really goes to show that Traumerei has not really mentally grown and moved past the concept of being the younger brother yet, and has moved into the position of being the older brother. And this leads to him and Gekomon getting into a massive fight. Right. Why? Because since Traumerei decided to blame Gekomon for something that he didn't do, Gekomon got ticked off and says, I didn't cause this problems. Oh, yes, you did. You're always causing problems. No, I don't. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. They're both shouting at each other like two immature children. Which, we can make an whole argument about that later. Which results in, oh, you're useless. You can't help. Oh, really? Oh, I'm gonna go help without you, which causes the whole team synergy about taking down this very dangerous champion level Digimon, which should have been an easy job for gluing down the handle, to become a massive clusterfuck, which results in not only Prissimon but Trupmon getting KO'd. Oh, and Gekomon being flung into the side of a giant container wall. Jeez Louise! Oh, okay, this is normally the moment where both sides calm down and apologize. Okay, so what's gonna happen next? Now, Traumerei immediately runs to go check to see that Gekomon's okay. Hey, Deutsch Dan Gekomon. It's after just grabbing Gekomon, seeing that Gekomon is fine. And then says, Gekomon, come on, you can't fight. But Gekomon's like, no, we gotta fight this man. I can fight him. No, you can't. Yes, I can. And which then results in them continuing to shout at each other even more. To which Gekomon gets frustrated with Traumerei. He's saying, all I wanted to do was hang out with you. That's literally all I wanted to do. But no, in fact, all you seem to care about is Asuka. Asuka this, Asuka that, Asuka this, Asuka that, Asuka that. I just want to hang out with you, man. It feels like you hate me for some reason. Well, Asuka's my brother. Oh, wait, no, you couldn't understand that. Because a Digimon could never understand what it feels like to have a family member frozen in a comatose state. Hey, and which then, oh wait, Kyo's right there. Kyo, and why isn't Kyo going in to immediately stop this conversation from getting worse? Because these two are not speaking inside voice. They're speaking like I hate. Speaking like they're about to say something really bad voices. They Kyo, why aren't you moving? Traumerei incoming. Now, I did say before that I like Kyo's offhand approach. That he wasn't trying to force Tomino and Gekomon to reconcile, but rather have them both come to that realization that they both need to talk to each other and have a civil discussion. Great! Amazing. I love it. But this is a moment where they're not talking to each other. They're shouting at each other. They're not listening. So, where I kind of have a problem with what Kyo is doing here is he's just deciding to just not immediately intervene or run up to shouting Tomino Gekomon, stop, this isn't the time for this. You need to work together, which would have been a good moment. But then again, I guess quite literally this needed to happen in order for them to both understand that I don't really get it. I don't understand why Kyo stopped. I don't. Maybe it's an animation thing, but it just really bugs me because you think any rational adult would have immediately stopped them from saying something that would have potentially hurt each other. To which someone's about to say something really bad, and I think that it should be stopped before they say it.
そんなこと望んでない。お前なんて生まれてこなきゃよかったんだ。
So, he said that, and I'm just gonna let Traumerei handle this part because the corkboard's full. So he's now just gonna go and have a field day for the next 10 minutes or so. I'll come back a bit later. So, yeah. Hello everyone, this is Owen, it's me, once again, coming back here. And if you look right massively here, you'll see this giant corkboard. That if I can zoom in properly, you'll actually be able to see entirely. It's full of a lot of images here, but you've probably seen them throughout the episode. But what I primarily do want to focus on is, well, specifically, if I'm able to pull this out properly, is, if you've noticed throughout all of Beatbreak, you've noticed that Traumerei has a specific fixation with keeping Gekomon hidden. Now, most people will say, oh, well, that's because Gekomon has a bounty. That is incorrect. Yes, if Traumerei was no longer part of Glowing Dawn, yes, Gekomon would still have a bounty on his head. That's no longer the case. Since Traumerei is a member of Glowing Dawn, he and Gekomon no longer have to worry about that. As we can see here in this image with Reina, Makoto, and Prisima. Right here. You see that these two don't have to worry about this. And yes, you could say, oh, well, Traumerei doesn't want to be seen. Yes, in a near empty bus, where there's nobody there. It is really fascinating on how, in a public space, Traumerei automatically is like, oh no, you have to stay hidden, Gekomon. You can't be seen. While on the way to go to Traumerei's old home, he's perfectly fine with Gekomon outside. He's somewhat fine with Gekomon being outside, but he's still saying, Gekomon, you gotta stay hidden, I'm just thinking, and I really reason why I'm bringing this up, because I feel like it's more important you focus on this. Why is Traumerei so desperate to hide him? Well, let's look at Tomono's childhood, for example. If we look at the previous episodes showing Traumerei growing up, we know that he's the type of person that went off the beat of his own drum. And that caused problems. And that caused people to look at him like he's a problem. Like he's an outlier, a weirdo, a freak. Now, these are words that most likely other kids used to label Traumerei, and those were probably negative statements. But keep in note, these types of words, they affect you. They affect you mentally and psychologically. And if we look at Gekomon as what he is, the representation of Tomono's epos, both in its physical form and along with being a part of who Traumerei is, a mirror reflection, a persona, if you will, if you know the Persona series, yada yada yada, then we can automatically look at how Traumerei treats Gekomon as, I am ashamed, if not embarrassed, to have this be seen. I do not want people to know of this because I've already been treated as an outlier. I try to keep my head down, try to not make sure people don't notice me. See, but I still try to at least follow the beat of my own drum. Try to, at the very least. But this constant hiding, anger, frustration, or indifference with Gekomon, and I want to make this clear, Tomino does care for Gekomon. We see when he looks at a look of horror over the state over Gekomon almost being eaten by Raremon, that he is terrified that happened to him, that he's terrified that him getting mad at Gekomon is a result of him Gekomon going in Berserk again. We've seen this. This is what we talk about, show me later. We've seen this before, so it's clear Tomino cares about Gekomon. But now we need to go over to here. Now, keep in note, when Tomino said that he was planning on going to check for a gift, Gekomon's tail immediately perked up. Although, let me just... Yeah, no one's in the care. Gekomon's tail immediately perks up, and then he's like, hey, I want to go too. I want to. That sounds like fun. Let's do that together. Now, why is it that Gekomon wants to go? Because throughout this entire episode, it's been really, really obvious that Gekomon wants one simple thing: to bond with Tomino, to be friends with Tomino, to have that brotherly relationship that they should have, but don't. But as always, what does Tomino treat it with? What? Why? You said you'd always stay home during hospital visits. It's no, you're not coming. I don't want you there. I don't want you there. But oh no, wait. If it has something to do with Digimon, then I need you there because you're the one who fights. It feels like they don't have an actual friendship. It feels like more or less a work relationship. And Gekomon wants a friendship. Hell, all Gekomon wanted to do was just hang out with Tomino. That's the only thing he wants. But Tomino treats him like a nuisance, a plague, which results in this. And most people say, oh, but Gekomon's causing trouble. And I'm just thinking, I look back at some episodes and I'm like, what trouble? Other than Gekomon eating a lot of food, that's it. If anything, it feels like when Tomino says he's causing to do is cause trouble, it feels like he's just reflecting it himself. Hell, I think the whole comment that Tomino made about wishing that Gekomon wasn't even born is more or less him just saying it about himself. That Tomino, because of how he viewed his E-Pulse, and how, even further. Let's go to this clip, and where he says primarily, right here and now, I'm sorry, it's all my fault, when he's covering his brother, Baraska. Tomino, what do you mean it's all your fault? You did nothing wrong. Oh wait, you believe, one, that your brother is in this situation because of you. You caused this problem. Hell, we even have the whole issue with their parents, him and Oz's parents being away. My brother had to sacrifice so much. He sacrificed school, he sacrificed his band just to take care of me. I made my brother to sacrifice so many things, and I'm just this ungrateful jerk. I'm terrible. I'm a horrible person. He has to deal with this malfunctioning, abnormal, weirdo failure of a brother. And now I'm such a failure. I'm such a mistake that my own impulse created this. It created Gekomon. Oh, and then things just got worse. I do believe, personally, that when Tomino says, I wish you weren't born, he is reflecting that onto himself. He doesn't mean it. He has said it completely in anger, but part of it, he said towards himself. And then, I want to make this even $1.50. I believe Gekomon, on some part, was afraid that Tomino hated him. On some level, he was afraid that Traumerei hated him. He wanted to believe, oh no, Traumerei doesn't hate him. We just haven't bonded enough to actually get to know each other. We haven't had a good rapport and friendship. So of course, I mean, and then Gekomon most likely, because this is the thing. If we look at how children think, they're always thinking, why is it my relationship with my parent aren't the same as that relationship with that child? Why is it that the relation between that I have with Tomino isn't the same as Reine and Makoto's? Traumerei with Pristimon and Mercurius with Chirpmon. And if you think, oh, Geckomon's thinking that, are you sure? We don't see what's in Geckomon's head. And reminder, I'm just using this logic as a kid thinking it. Hell, even brothers can even see this stuff. Like, okay, why isn't my relationship with my brother like that? Why is my relationship with him so negative? You think about it, you really think about it, that stuff does start to weigh on you. Hence why Geckomon was so desperate to push for a moment of friendship. He wanted this whole bond, he wanted a relationship, he wanted to interact with Tomino in general. But once again, Tomono's just standoffish or indifferent, which leads to these problems, which leads to Tomino almost getting eaten. It is stuff like this that led to the boy almost getting eaten. I didn't have the image of where you can just see the moment Geckomon Hearts just breaks in half. Or rather, the moment where his darkest suspicions are just now proven right. Now most people are like, oh, but Tomino said that in anger. Don't matter. It's the same. Let's go for example, another example. One Piece. Remember that scene where Luffy was about to say that Usopp should leave the crew, but Sanji kicked him before he could finish saying that? Didn't matter. It didn't matter to Usopp. He knew what Luffy was gonna say, and he immediately took that and said, okay, then bet. That's what happened. The moment Luffy was about to say the worst thing he could have said to Usopp, even though Sanji stopped him, Usopp isn't an idiot, he isn't dumb, he knew what he was going to say. And Geckomon, he just had his worst suspicions realized, which then results in the Impulse going berserk. Now here's the thing, we don't get a Dark Digivolution. Why? Because since Tomo didn't insert that negative energy into the Sapotama, no Impulse, no Dark Digivolution. The only way that is possible is someone willingly inserts negative power, their berserk negative Impulse into their Sapotama and forces their Digimon to eat it. At best, they'll go into a berserk state. But even then, I say all this because I believe that there is a level where Tomura does have some self-hatred, and he does impartially just project that onto Geckomon. I don't believe he hates Geckomon. I believe he hates himself, and what his e-pulse is, but hasn't moved past that self-hatred. Now, I haven't watched episode 12 yet, but still, this is a problem, and it's led to all of this. But I'll leave that for you to finish up and be done with. That's all time I have for today, so back to you, other me. Now, I do want to focus on the fact that, yes, Tomino's E-Pulse causes Geckomon to wig out and enter Berserk mode once again, and we almost get a repeat of what happened to Shuji and Digimon Survive. But I do want to focus on the thing that I did want to point out as fascinating, is the fact that people thought that Geckomon was going to Dark Digivolve this episode because of the black energy coming off of it. But what we've been shown throughout this entire show, that's not how Digivolution works in Beatbreak. Right? Reminder, the Sapotama needs to have the person's impulse being stored within it, then the Digimon needs to eat it to then use that impulse. So what I'm specifically trying to say is that the only logical way for a Dark Digivolution to happen, specifically let's use Tomino for example, because while we know his impulse is special, so we don't know if other people could also achieve that same level of destructive power that he could. Let's say for example, Tomino, I don't know, probably could happen somewhere down the line. This series is probably dealing with a lot of negative stress and emotion, let's say specifically rage, because they find a Gokumon that has Asuka's impulse, and the Gokumon decides to destroy it, right in front of both Tomino and Geckomon's eyes. Tomino loses his collective gourd. He gets consumed by absolute fury and rage. So much that his E-Pulse wins out again. But this time he has the Sapotama in hand. Now, what do you think would happen? Well, again, this is how the Dark Digivolution would occur, but this would require Tomino being either blinded by rage that he would probably you throw in the air for Gekomon to consume, or Gekomon, which would mean Gekomon would have to consent to it, or him forcing the Dark Epos into Gekomon. I'm honestly hoping with the Gekomon consenting, because I kind of don't like the concept of Tomino forcing Gekomon to take in this corrupted, anger-filled Epos, because that would just be really, really bad, and would probably destroy Tomino's mental state even more. Honestly, I fully see a potential Dark Digivolution being one that is consented on Gekomon's behalf on Tomino. Well, because I could never see, because if you see episode 12, you see that Tomino's just racked with guilt over what had happened. He would never willingly force it unless he was so blinded by rage, or unless Gekomon consented to consuming that very much corrupted Epos. Hence why I bring this up now, so that way in the future we could all just come back here and then just laugh at you I was wrong, or say, dang, you were right. But I don't really know. And then we move forward. Now, Gekomon was, and now back to the scene. Gekomon was close to then biting Tomino's head off, but actually was able to show enough the strength to not hurt Tomino. Because even after that very, 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 very messed up thing Tomino said, that yes was in anger, we all know he didn't mean it, was still wrong. Gekomon didn't hurt Tomino. Instead decided to point the very, very ungodly amounts of his own frustration and anger, sadness, at the Raremon, to which he then gets promptly eaten. Now, reminder, look at Tomino's face. That's the face of a man who realized he said something really messed up or something horrific, and is mortified by it. The moment he sees Kyo, he's immediately begging for Kyo to save Gekomon, because again, Gekomon is his baby boy, and he loves him very deeply, but doesn't really show it all that much. Which is really, really, really bad. On Tomino's part, because it possibly really was why Gekomon was so desperate to bond with him. It feels like, you know what I meant, come on. But Kyo is able to then tell Kyo to calm down, and don't worry, you got this. Although I question how they can handle this. There are 2 Digimons down, and on the third one is quite literally being digested by a Raremon. On him, Murasaimon's the only one on the field. And even then, Murasaimon has to be careful, because if he cuts Raremon the wrong way, he might end up killing Gekomon. So, hey, what's going on with that weird yellow spot in that container, like right behind the Raremon? Huh, that's weird. Only for, it was the guy from the beginning of the episode. Oh, and he uses his Digimon to burn away not only Raremon, but all of the poison gas. I don't know if that's scientifically possible, but since it came from a Digimon, maybe the Digimon's flames burn that away? Maybe. Anyway, his name is revealed by Kyo to be Kaito, and it seems like both him and Kyo know each other. If you watch episode 12, you already know this piece of information. But Tomino doesn't care, because Gekomon is alive, but injured, and Tomino only cares about Gekomon. To which, when Kaito quite literally gets in front of him with a smart kill, Tomino's like, I don't give a shit, but you get on my way, I need to check my baby. To which, Kaito grabs Traumerei by the collar, questions if this kid is the reason why Kyo is so weak, and then threatens to delete Tomino. We all know what he means by that, and that was probably to get a rise out of Kyo, which almost causes Murasaimon. Actually, it caused Murasaimon and Flaremon to clash, and the fight seems like it's about to start. Now, Kyo, realizing that this situation isn't actually favorable, because let's do a head count. Rina and Makoto are there, but Simon and Chirpmon are both KO'd. Gekomon, to their current knowledge, is currently not usable. So Tomino is captured, so yeah. Plus, Kyo, clearly most likely because how he has a burn scar close to his neck, has fought Flaremon before, and that situation wasn't a good one. So he ultimately knows that, yeah, no, that's not a smart situation to do. So what does he do? He decides to defuse the situation by humbly bowing his head and begging for Kaito to just let go of Tomoro and to not hurt him or his family. Now this causes Kaito to visibly look confused, frustrated, and let's be honest, a little pissed off that this is the same Kyo that he once knew. The same Kyo Sawashiro who was a member of the 5 Stars. You know, that elite group of cleaners, which that's a piece of information that Rina, Makoto, and Tomoro didn't know about, which it really just adds a list of questions about the mystery around Kyo. But I would say this, episode 12 Kyo does answer some questions, but he doesn't answer everything. But regardless, this is enough for Kaito's battle lust to quite literally go to -100. Kaito lets go to Homodo and then just walks away, saying, "You're not worth it. I lost all interest in this. I am leaving. Good day." Oh, hey, Gekko, I forgot about him. Hey, why is he getting up? Why is he looking at Flaremon and Kaito like they're enemies? Gekko. Oh no, Gekko's running. He's running at the... Oh god, he's actually about to attack him! Which results in Kaito ordering Flaremon to destroy Gekko. Now, the good news is Murasaimon came in and slashed away Flaremon's signature technique, which I cannot pronounce to save my life. But the resulting slash then results in an explosion, which into which Kill then blocks Tomino from the flames, which results in a massive blast that's knocking out everybody. Murasaimon's good but injured. Gekkomon actually was degenerated back into his in-training 1 form, on which Gekkomon, being that blasted hit Gekkomon, Gekkomon was gonna die. That's no ifs, ands, and or buts. And Tomino looks at Kyo, who's injured, and looks at the destroyed flames with a horrific look of absolute trauma, because quite literally caused, well, things to get worse. Roll credits. Now, all in all, I have to say, episode 11, really good setup for episode 12. After watching episode 12, gotta admit, the 2 episodes are just absolute cinema. Genuinely, masterful strokes. Episode 11 was a very good setup. That could have easily just been a 1 episode thing. Tomino and Gekkomon reconcile, but clearly that's not what was going to happen. And then it leads to the peak that is episode 12. I just have to say this again. Episode 12 was peak. I've literally, after doing this, I just went and go watch it. Absolute cinema. Absolute cinema. But all in all, if I were to say what should happen next in episode 12, it should be something as simple as this. Tomino and Gekkomon need to reconcile with each other and apologize to each other, and actually probably about talk and communication. And that would lead to them actually achieving a Digivolution. Because now they finally reached that 100% and can now break through and reach the next stage. That's all I need to say, and also Happy New Year's, everybody. This video should have came out weeks ago, but I am very, very bad at this. But I just want to say this to both any new and old viewers, and if you watched all the way to the end, thank you for subscribing to the channel, and thank you for giving me your views and your support. It really does mean a lot, and I really want to thank you guys as well. And also, I want to hope that this new year is an amazing new year. Hence why originally I wanted this video to come out last year, which was in December, but then I wanted the first video I uploaded to be an actually heavily edited video, or as edited as you want to call this, so yeah. All I want to say is thank you for your support for these couple of years, and I hope to continue to earn that support, and to continue to at least try and make good and entertaining content. That is all I have to say at the end, guys. I'm not going to say the usual spiel. No. I just want to say, I hope your 2026 is an amazing year. That's all I have for today. Ciao.